Sarah, picture this. It is October 3rd, 1943. You are a waist gunner in a B-17, 30,000 feet above the North Sea.
I'm already freezing just thinking about it.
Exactly. The metal of your .5 caliber Browning is so cold it sticks to your cheek. You see a Messerschmitt 109 knifing through your formation, just 200 yards out, closing fast from the side.
A perfect shot.
It looks like it. You can see the muzzle flashes from its cannons. Every single instinct, every fiber of your being is screaming at you to put your gun sight right on the nose of that fighter and pull the trigger.
And that's what he does.
No. Instead, he aims 6 entire aircraft lengths behind it. He aims at the empty air between the fighter and his own bomber's tail.
What? That's insane. He's aiming where the target was, not where it is.
He squeezes the trigger. The Browning rolls to life. 2 seconds later, the Messerschmitt disintegrates in a ball of orange flame.
How is that possible?
He had just proven a terrifying truth that violated every law of common sense. In a fast-moving bomber, aiming directly at an attacking fighter guaranteed a miss. The secret to survival was aiming at the empty sky.
Okay, Mark, you have to explain that. How does aiming behind something make you hit it?
It's all about the physics, which we'll get to. But first, you have to understand the problem the Army Air Corps was facing in 1941.
They didn't have trained gunners?
They had 0 specialized facilities for it, not one single school. They had these incredible new B-17 bombers, bristling with machine guns, but the men behind them were worthless.
They didn't know how to shoot?
They didn't know how to shoot from a moving platform at another moving platform. The British had already learned this lesson the hard way. Their night bomber crews were being slaughtered.
Why? What were they doing wrong?
They were doing what instincts told them to do. They aimed directly at the attacking German fighters. They missed, and then they died.
So, the U.S. military knew it had to solve this, and fast.
On January 25, 1941, an officer stood in 60 square miles of desolate Nevada desert, all creosote and jackrabbits. This wasteland, leased from Las Vegas for $1 a year, would become the most important gunnery school in American history.
So, they build this massive school in the desert. How do you even begin to teach this?
Well, at first, they started on solid ground. They put students on fixed platforms and had them shoot at clay pigeons.
Skeet shooting.
Exactly. And it taught the fundamentals of leading a target. If a duck is flying left to right, you aim just ahead of it. Simple, intuitive physics. The students got good at it.
But they aren't going to be on a fixed platform in the air.
And that's the next step. The instructors mounted the shotguns on the backs of moving trucks.
Ah, so now the gunner is moving, just like in a bomber.
As the trucks rumbled through the desert, the students suddenly couldn't hit anything. Clay pigeons that should have been easy shots sailed past, completely untouched.
But why? They were still leading the target, right? They were aiming ahead of it, just as they were taught.
They were, and they were missing every single time. The instructors themselves were baffled. The answer, they soon discovered, was a principle so counterintuitive that it would require completely rewriting how they thought about combat.
So what was the answer? What was this principle?
An instructor named Sergeant Robert Hayes, who had a background in physics, finally drew it on a blackboard. He drew a bomber traveling at 300 miles per hour and a fighter attacking from the side at the same speed.
Okay, I'm with you.
The students assumed the bullet traveled in a straight line from the gun to the target. They were wrong. The bullet, the instant it left the barrel, inherited the bomber's forward velocity.
What do you mean?
Every single bullet fired from that bomber was already traveling 300 miles per hour forward, in addition to the velocity from the gunpowder.
So the bullet isn't traveling straight out to the side.
It's traveling diagonally. It's pushed forward by the bomber's own momentum. Imagine firing a gun from a speeding train at a target standing still on a platform.
You'd have to aim behind the target, because by the time the bullet gets there, the train has moved forward.
Not quite. The bullet itself is moving forward with the train. It's like a curveball. The bullet fires to the side, but the bomber's 300-mile-per-hour motion makes that bullet curve dramatically forward.
So, if a gunner aims directly at a fighter that's right beside him,
the bullet curves forward and passes harmlessly in front of the target. The bomber's own speed guarantees a miss.
That is completely staggering. It violates every natural human instinct.
It does. So if you want to hit that target attacking from 90 degrees, you have to do the one thing that feels insane. You have to aim behind it.
Way behind it.
You are trusting that the bomber's forward speed will carry your bullets forward, like a river current, and that the fighter will fly right into that stream of lead.
How on earth do you train someone to do that? To fight their own brain in a life-or-death situation?
You systematize it. The Army Air Forces refined this into a technique they called position firing. They developed tables, charts, and simple rules.
Rules for what?
For how far behind to aim. It was based on the radians of deflection. At a 90-degree attack, a gunner might need to aim 8 to 12 radians behind the fighter.
What's a radian in this context?
Think of it as one aircraft length. So, in the heat of combat, a gunner had to see a fighter, judge its angle, and then consciously force himself to aim 10 entire aircraft lengths into the empty sky behind it, trusting that the physics would do the rest.
So the school at Las Vegas became a 6-week program to systematically break a man's instincts.
And rebuild them with physics. It was incredibly comprehensive. Week 1 was just ballistics and learning the .5 caliber Browning blindfolded.
Week 2.
Back to the shotgun trucks. They spent hours shooting at clays from moving platforms, forcing them to learn the feel of aiming behind.
And then, I assume they moved to something more realistic?
Weeks 3 and 4 used simulators. They had mock-up turrets on towers, tracking dummy fighters on wires. They also had the Waller gunnery trainer, which projected fighter images on a giant screen. It recorded every hit and miss, so they could see their mistakes immediately.
But they have to fire real bullets eventually.
That's week 5, air-to-air firing. They went up in actual B-17s and B-24s and fired at fabric sleeves towed by other planes.
How did they score that?
Every student's ammunition was color-coded. When the sleeve was back on the ground, instructors would count the holes. You got 12 red hits, you got 8 blue. They got immediate, tangible feedback.
And after 6 weeks of this, they graduated.
If they passed, the washout rate was about 20%, but by the end of 1943, these schools had graduated over 57,000 gunners. The production machine was running, but the real test was yet to come.
That test would be the air war over Germany.
And it came on August 17, 1943, the infamous Schweinfurt-Regensburg raid.
A deep penetration mission into Germany.
To hit ball bearing factories. And it was a disaster, wasn't it?
It was a slaughter.
The 8th Air Force sent 376 B-17s, and the Luftwaffe rose to meet them with over 400 fighters. The Americans lost 60 bombers.
20% of the entire force gone in a few hours.
It proved that daylight bombing without fighter escort was impossible.
It did, but it also proved something else. The Germans lost aircraft too. The initial claims from the bombers were wildly inflated, over 200 kills, but the verified number was still significant.
How many?
Approximately 27 German fighters were confirmed shot down by the bomber gunners.
So the training was working.
It was, All across the formation, gunners were applying the techniques they had learnt in Nevada. A fighter comes in at 3 o'clock. Range 300 yards. Apply 12 radians of deflection. Aim between the fighter and the tail. Fire.
And it worked.
It worked. But the gunners all reported the same thing. Their instinct was always to aim at the target. They had to consciously force themselves to use the training. It was the training, and only the training, that overrode their instincts.
So, position firing was proven to work, but it was incredibly difficult to do under stress. It required a human to become a computer.
Exactly. So the next logical step was to build the computer. And the answer, funnily enough, came from the British.
What did they have?
In late 1943, their night fighters were using a revolutionary new device called the Mk2 gyro gun sight. It used a spinning gyroscope to automatically compute the correct deflection.
The pilot just had to put the sight on the target, and the computer did the math.
Yes, the U.S. Army Air Forces immediately saw the potential and adapted the technology for bomber turrets.
What did this new sight look like?
It had a dual reticule system. One fixed reticule showed where the guns were actually pointing. A second, gyroscopically controlled reticule moved, showing where the bullets would actually go.
So the gunner's job was simplified.
Massively. All he had to do was keep that moving reticule on the fighter. The sight automatically calculated the speed, the angle, and the deflection. The mental burden was lifted.
What was the result?
The improvement was dramatic. Tests showed that a gunner using a new gyro sight achieved approximately double the hit rate of a gunner using the old ring and bead sight, even one who was trained in position firing.
So the combination of the new technology and the refined training was making gunners twice as lethal?
Exactly. And the training itself got a massive upgrade. They started a new program, and honestly, it sounds like the most terrifyingly fun thing imaginable. It was called Operation Pinball.
Pinball?
They took 7 Bell P-63 King Cobra fighters and covered them in thick duraluminum armor plating.
They armored their own fighters?
Yes. Then they gave the gunnery students special frangible bullets made from compressed lead powder and plastic. These bullets would shatter into dust on impact.
I see where this is going.
The pinball fighters would fly realistic attack patterns, diving and weaving just like German fighters. The students, from their B-17s, would fire the frangible bullets at them.
You're kidding. They shot at their own pilots?
They did. The fighter had a big red light in its propeller hub. When a frangible bullet struck the armored plane, a sensor would make the light flash. Hit.
A real-life video game.
The ultimate one. Students were no longer shooting at a predictable fabric sleeve. They were tracking a real, live, maneuvering target. The results were astounding. Students who trained against the pinballs had a 30 to 40% better hit rate in actual combat.
This all culminated in the B-29 Super Fortress, didn't it? That system was on another level entirely.
It was the final evolution. The B-29 had a remote control gun system. The gunners sat in pressurized compartments, looking through periscope sights.
They weren't even touching the guns.
No, they just tracked the target. A central fire control computer calculated everything: the deflection, the range, the bullet drop, even the wind drift. The turret swung and fired automatically.
The human just pointed, and the machine solved the physics problem.
And it was devastatingly effective against Japanese fighters. When the war ended, the Army Air Forces had graduated over 214,000 aerial gunners.
And the final analysis? That 2x improvement held true?
The data was clear. Bombers with trained gunners using these advanced principles and sights shot down approximately twice as many attacking fighters.
It's an incredible story. It's not about a better gun or a better plane, it's about training.
It's about the power of systematic training to rewire human instinct. It's about teaching men to abandon what felt right and trust what the mathematics proved was right.
To aim where the target wasn't.
To aim behind, trusting that their bomber's speed would carry the bullets forward. They had to trust the physics, and in doing so, they learned to perform an impossible skill under the most extreme pressure imaginable.